The first declaration that God made to awaken life in every living thing was, "Let there be light." And there was light. And that was the energy, the vibration that activated life in all things. And we're on a journey, all of us, to continue that process because we're these evolutionary beings and we're continually awakening to light and more light. If you think, we talked about at the beginning of this month, the courage to grow. And the courage to grow, the perfect example that Ernest Holmes loved to talk about, was the seed. We put a seed in the darkness of the soil. But the soil, if it's got all the right ingredients, the moisture, the minerals, the vitamins, all it needs, it's the perfect environment for that seed to grow. However, that seed needs to trust the darkness and feel the stirring of the awakening within. That stirring to break through the encasement and shoot down the roots and follow the light, send up the shoots out into the sun to follow the light, to grow. And it's a perfect metaphor for our life and how that following the light, but the light, as you said so beautifully, Sage, that inner light that Ernest Holmes talks about. There's a light within us, that spark of divinity that we call it, that divine spark. We might call it the divine urge, whatever it is. It's the thing we feel inside of us. There's a little light inside of us that's unique to us. Nobody else has one. Isn't that good? We all have our own little spark of light that's special and unique. But we're following that light to the bigger light, the light that shines on all of us. And that's God's light that shines equally on everyone. 2,000 years ago, the Bible said that God shines the sun on the rich and the poor, the happy and the sad, the righteous and the not so righteous. On everyone. When I left today to come, I saw a little bit of sun and then a little drizzle, but I walked out and boom, hit a outpouring of rain. Sorry, my hair's so flat. It really looked cute this morning. My pants were wet. I'm all walking through. I didn't expect it, but I knew, even though I couldn't see it, that the sun was there. Of course, I turned my heater on to dry my pants, but other than that, I knew that the sun was there. Because no matter what kind of darkness we're in, the sun's always shining. Now, I don't know for you here and those at home, what kind of darkness and heaviness you feel right now in your own life. Some of us came in, I know, Sue, you came in all happy and joyful and dancing. Beautiful, that's to be celebrated too. But the times when we're carrying the darkness of this world, it could be a health crisis. It could be the loss of someone or something we love. It could be financial insecurity. It could be a lack of ability to decide. It could be confusion. There's so many things it could be that we carry around. But what I know is the darkness is always there for a reason, just like the soil, for us to grow and become something more. So if you think, what darkness is there for me right now? You and I, when we follow the light, we have to make sure the light that's in us, that we have to seek and touch, which we'll talk about in a minute, is a light that's not afraid of the darkness. Because we need that balance in this world. In this physical world, it's light and dark. We're always on that journey between light and dark and moving and growing and becoming. So we have to make sure that we don't put the expectations on things being perfect all the time. I believe right now in our world, there is so much unprecedented hunger for spirituality. Do you feel that? People want to be spiritual because the outside world, we can't really make much sense of a lot of times, at least I can't. The division and the anger and the need for more and the fastness and the boom, 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 boom. It's just crazy. And really the focus continually on the external world. The external world is, it can be shiny and bright, but the real light, the real beauty in the world comes from the light of our soul. That's when things are beautiful. So you and I have to do the work to move beyond all the trappings of the material world. Yes, it's fun to be in the material world. It's fun to see the beauty and the wonder and all of that, but we have to do our work so we're balanced. Because Ernest Holmes talks about following the light. And he said he would sit for hours in the silence, and he would listen to the silence. He'd listen to it until it spoke to him. And this silence doesn't speak in the language that we've been taught. It speaks in the language of intuition, a language that we've never been taught, but is in us. It's the intuition, the knowing. And he said he would listen to the silence until it spoke to him, till he could feel it, because spirit speaks in the language of feeling. It doesn't speak in the language of English or Chinese or German. It speaks in the language of feelings. And he said he would look into the darkness, as you were saying, Reverend Sage, until he saw the spark of color. I call it the sparklies of God's love, because that's the way I feel it. I feel sparklies, and I can see the colors of God's love when I'm in that place and space. Now, when I do my meditation to really get into that light, the light within, I have to let my mind rest on my heart, because I'll tell you, if we're in a place of darkness, we're not going to think our way out of it. Our mind, we can have practices. That's good. We can say affirmations. That's good. That can lead us to a better place. But the true light comes from within. And I rest my mind on my heart, because this is where Spirit speaks. This is where the light is. And I think if we really, if you talk to people about how do you know that urge, it's an urge, it's a feeling, it's a push from within, and it's also the bigger light that's pulling us to something more. Because all Spirit wants us to do is grow and expand and become forever. But if we do that, that bigger light does not extinguish our light. It doesn't put it out. It doesn't diminish it. All it does is accentuate our glow and our light. And the light we have can extend everywhere. That's what we get to have. But we need to understand that in this journey to follow the light, there are the ups and downs and goods and bads. It was in Psalms, it says, weeping, we can weep throughout the night. And oftentimes we do. We can weep and be sorrowful and miss things and want things and be in pain in the night. But in the morning, joy will come. If we're doing our work, that joy of greater understanding will come. It will be there. So we know if we hear that intuitive message, that voice of Spirit, that we are following that light. Light also speaks. And John O'Donohue, the beautiful Irish poet, philosopher, priest, author, who really made Celtic spirituality known throughout the world, in his book Anam Cara, said that light is the mother of life. And he also talked about light being very generous. It gives. So when we're in a generous, if we're feeling in tune and we're feeling generous and loving, and he said it's gentle too. Although light can be bright, but it's gentle. The real light of Spirit, that urge and that pull isn't, we get hit by 2x4s, spiritual 2x4s now and then, but that's when we're really not listening. But this is that pull of Spirit. And he said it's gentle. So one of my teachers, Jean Houston, would also say, love, which is God, so we know God is love, which is light. Love, which is light, which is truth, which is beauty, which is joy, which is generosity, which is kindness, which is goodness. If we're in that flow, we know that we are following the light, and it's leading us. It's leading us to a place where our imagination is ripe and open and available, because Spirit wants to create through us. God dances every dance, sings every song, writes every play, writes every book, creates all things. So we are letting Spirit work through us in that place of divine inspiration. We're letting it do its work as us, but we have to be open and available. Another thing that is so important, if we have to keep the light in us burning. It's always there. The light's always shining out there, but we have to kindle that flame within us through creativity and through, well, before I say that, Ernest Holmes said the person who walked most fully in the light was Jesus. And if you think of Jesus, what did Jesus teach? Love. He taught love. Love God, love one another, love each other. Love. So if we are really, whatever our question is, the answer is love. That's always it. If we question, well, how am I going to, I don't know how to get in alignment. I don't know how to make a decision. I don't know how to know what to do next. Love. Love is the answer. We keep that and know that that's the way that's going to lead us to a greater understanding. So it's love that will lead us, but where does it take us? Where is following this light, where's it going to lead us? It leads us to unity and oneness. You know, Matthew Fox, in his book, One River, Many Wells, of course, the river is the river of spirit, God, whatever name you call it, and the many wells are the different faiths and cultures. And he says community, as I said, is a gathering of light. And we're here because we're to brighten the world. And if you look at it, in that book, he talks about all the faiths and the cultures throughout the ages that have talked about light. And I just want to share some of these because it's fascinating to me. He said, Buddha, 5th century BC, said, "Be the lamp unto yourselves. We came from the light. We are to return to the light." Hafez, Sufi mystic, 14th century, said, "Is it true that our destiny is to return to light itself?" The Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas was found in 1947 in the Egyptian desert, but it was dated 340 AD. It's the teachings of Jesus. And in the Gospel of Thomas, he relays this teaching of Jesus. Jesus said, "If they say to you, 'Where are you from?' tell them, 'We came from the light.'" Hildegard of Bingen, the beautiful 12th century mystic, said there is no creation that doesn't hold radiance. All radiance is gifted with the ecstasy of God's light. Every creature is a glittering, glistening mirror of divinity. And Ernest Holmes said, a 20th century mystic, said, "Everything must become the light. There is nothing outside the light. Everything exists within it. Everything exists within it." So in order for us to do what's been the truth throughout the ages, we must do that internal work, the work to clear the way, because the light is always there. And the love is always there. And the generosity. And so if we can be the shining stars that God intended us to be. Remember, Jesus said, don't hide your light under a bushel, let it shine. Just like we were singing about, we have to open ourselves. And the words of Hafez, which some of my favorite words that he said something really good. Slipped my mind. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. And I think that's what we're here to do. This community, this unity, we're here to be the shining lights that light the sky. We have to do our twinkle, twinkle, because when we put our twinkle, twinkle together, we can be that energy and the light that lights the world in kindness, in goodness, in understanding, in forgiveness, in unity, in understanding. It doesn't mean we have to like everything and everybody and agree with everything, not at all. But it means we are a being that understands, that we are a melting pot of all different, diverse, beautiful beings and people, and that we are here to support each other in growing together in our own unique way. So my one request of us today was, when we leave, take time to tap into that light within. and hook it to the greater light. And let it guide you and direct you so you can be the shining brilliance and carry. We don't have to be together. People on our streaming, people that are in our families, in our community, they can feel the light. We don't have to see it. We can simply be it. So I challenge you to do that. I'm glad you're in my constellation because we've got some work to do together. God bless you all, and I love you so much. Keep shining. Thank you, thank you, thank you.